Let me take one of the project issue as an example, and then we discuss about the validator and condition for about 2 to 5 minutes of time, and then we'll shift over to the next functionality on the workflow transitions. So let me open the Hyundai project and let me navigate to the workflows of the Hyundai project. Alright, so let me click on edit on any one of the workflow, and then let's switch over from the text mode to the diagram mode. The validators and conditions can be seen on the workflow transitions, right? So if we want to add any validator or the condition, we can directly click on the appropriate transition on the workflow, and then we can add either the validator or the condition. So coming to the validators, let me open in one of the tab and then the conditions in the another tab. So let's talk about the validators by clicking on add validator. For example, we have picked one of the validator as an example in the previous session. The field must not be empty during the transition. So whenever we add the validator on a particular workflow transition, and before talking about that, let me navigate directly to one of the issue. It might be any issue. So imagine that there is a validator on this particular test transition. So if I click on the test transition, what will happen? Jira will validate whether the description field is empty or not. If it is empty, we will be getting an error message, because once we click on the status, like we will be able to see the status, and once we click on the status, then we will be finding out whether the issue can be transitioned to that particular status or not. Whatever the validator that we keep in the backend, if it is satisfied or if it passes, then the issue will be transitioned from to do to test. And if there is any fail, like the description is still empty, then automatically we will be getting the appropriate error message. So that is what a validator in Jira means. In simple terms, we can see the status, and after we click on the status, Jira will start validating, and then either it can be on the same status if the validator fails, or it can move to the appropriate status if whatever the validator that we have mentioned is correct. And then coming to the conditions, like we have added one of the condition, like only the assignee of the issue can execute this transition. Alright, so coming back to the issue itself, maybe imagine that we have kept on the in progress status on the transition. Only the assignee should be able to perform this particular transition. If I am the Jira admin 09, that my profile is, and also I am the assignee of this particular issue, then I will be able to see the in progress status name. And imagine that I am not Jira admin 09, but the assignee of this issue is Jira admin 09. But if I logged in with the username Cecil, I will not even be able to see the in progress status at all. I will be getting the direct message here stating that you do not have the permission to perform this particular transition. So the validator, once we click on the status, it will validate. The condition, if we do not meet the condition criteria, we do not even see the next status name. So these are the key differences between a validator and a condition in Jira. So anytime anybody asks this particular question in the interview, not just the difference, even we will be able to talk about one example. So we can pick the both examples whatever we have discussed in the class, so that they will be getting a clear picture that you really have good knowledge into validators and conditions. Now we clearly know that on the workflow transitions, we just not add the validators and conditions. There are few things that we can do. So the very third one that we are going to discuss on the workflow transitions going to be a post function. So let me click on workflows. Alright, so before talking about the post function, I would like to show you something. So completely let me create one of the project. I do not want to take Hyundai as an example. Let's create quickly a Scrum project, company managed project, and then I just want to mention the project name as workflows. And then let me click on create a project. Alright, we have created a project, and we clearly know whenever we create either a Scrum project or the Kanban project, the workflow assigned to the project to each and every issue in those project is a software simplified workflow, right? So let me click on the diagram, and then let me click on the done status. Let me click on edit before that. And then let me switch over to the diagram mode. And this is the software simplified workflow given by Jira. So I want to take the done transition as an example. And just like how do we have the conditions and validators on each and every transition, there is an option called post function as well. Now as we can see, currently there are 0 conditions, 0 validators, but by default Jira has given some 6 post functions on any particular transition. And few will be having 5, I think. No, each and everything has 6 post functions by default. So let me click on the post functions. And it is not that much mandatory to go through all the post functions, but out of which I want to pick one of the post function as an example. And then we talk about different post functions that we have in Jira. Now as we can see, whenever an issue is being transitioned from any status, maybe to do or in progress, if they are being transitioned to the done, the very final status in the workflow, when we are closing an issue, the resolution of the issue will be set to done. Now this is one of the important things that we have to know before we maybe enter into the post functions. Alright, what exactly the term resolution means in Jira? So in order to explain that, let me open the paint and let me take the project name here as an example. Just imagine the project is workflows, and then in the workflows that we have created multiple issues. Alright, so imagine that these issues will be assigned to the team members, and all they have to do is to close the issues, right? Now imagine that this is the close status, imagine just. Which means whenever someone clicks on the close status maybe, or the done status, all these issues will be moved to this particular status. Now after a while, it might be 10 days or it might be 15 days or even it might be after 1 year, we notice that few of the issues have been moved from any other status. It might be to do in progress, but they have moved to the closed status. Alright, imagine that we've seen there are totally 3 closed issues at the moment. Now when I open the very first issue, I found that the user has worked properly and then he closed the issue. And when I open the second issue and read the comments, even I felt that the user have correctly worked on the issue and he have closed the issue. But when I open the very third issue, I found that user clearly mentioned in the comments that whatever the work given to him cannot be fulfilled due to some reason. Maybe that particular functionality has not been available in the market, or it might be any reason. And he just mentioned this issue cannot be done at the moment since there is no work or use at all with this issue, he have moved it to the closed status. So now when we have just the three issues in the closed status, we were unable to find out, right? We have to open manually and then we have to decide how many issues are really closed successfully and how many are in closed status but not work properly. So imagine that in Jira projects there will be hundreds and thousands of issues, right? Where the issues are in done status or maybe closed status. Out of which, how are we going to identify how many issues are really closed and how many issues are closed but due to some conflict or maybe due to some unavailability, the issues are moved to closed status but not completed as per the requirement. And that is the time the resolution comes into picture. Alright, so what exactly the term resolution means? Now whenever we are clicking on the close or maybe the done status on the workflow, Jira will ask us the resolution for that particular issue. It might populate some options like whether is it done or maybe we can keep any other things, maybe cannot be done. Imagine that we do have these two resolution values so that whenever someone clicks on the done status or the closed status, one box will be popped up, then the user will be able to fill the resolution done or cannot be done. So whenever they choose the resolution values, it will be very easier for anybody in the team, maybe or to the scrum master or the project lead, to identify, alright, currently there are two issues where the resolution is equal to done. So these two issues are completed and this issue, the resolution is cannot be done. So when the scrum master have a look, he will be having a very clear picture without even opening the issues and without even reading the comments manually. So that is the main purpose of the resolution. Now the very first thing that I want to show here is whenever the project has been created in Jira for each and every software simplified workflow given by Jira, on the done status there will be a post function where the resolution will be automatically set to done. It means it do not give the users the privilege to select the value of the resolution. Whether you complete the work or not, automatically the resolution will be set to done. So if we want to have the resolution values on just like how we have seen here, done and cannot be done, the project admin will have to reach out to the Jira admin and then the Jira admin will be doing the configurations of the resolutions on what values that they would like to populate for their project. I hope everybody understand the concept, right, before I show the same in the live. Does anybody understand or having doubts on why we make an use of the resolutions in Jira? Okay, I got it. So now before adding the resolution onto a particular project, let's see how we can see the resolution and where we can see the resolution in the Jira. Coming back to Jira. Now this particular workflow project is making an use of the software simplified workflow. So let me quickly click on create, maybe checking or testing resolution. For software simplified workflow, and then let me click on create. An issue has been created and let me open the issue. Now it is a software simplified workflow, so we will be able to move from any status to any other status, where on each status there will be the global transition mark, right? From to do directly we can move on to done, or maybe from to do we can move to in progress as well. So when I click on in progress, I do not see the resolution anywhere on this particular screen. But when we are moving from the in progress to the done, you will be noticing one of the green tick mark where you can see the term done. So let me click on done. As we can see, as soon as I move the issue to done, I can see there is a green tick mark and I can see it is done. So that whenever the project lead or someone, when they navigate to the issues of the workflow project, with all the information like issue type name, the key, the summary, assignee, reporter, even the project leader, anybody who have the access to this particular page can be able to sort out the resolution as well. If there are totally 3 issues, they can see done, done and maybe cannot done, so that they can clearly having a clear picture without even opening the issues manually. Now the main important question is, for the software simplified workflow, for each and every issue, the resolution will be done. Now at one particular time, the project leads will be really frustrated, right? They will be asking the Jira admins to have some resolution values that needs to be selected by the user whenever they are trying to move the issue to done status. So if that is a requirement, how we can fulfill that in Jira? And before that, why this particular resolution is being set to done automatically? It is because on the done transition of the software simplified workflow, there is a post function. So coming back to the very first point. So there is a post function on the done transition, and that particular post function is stating that the resolution of the issue will be set to done automatically. So whenever the user clicks on the done status, automatically the resolution field will be updated to done. It's an automatic, there is no involvement of the user. So that is what exactly we mean by the post function in Jira. So I use the term post function, it's not me, it's given by Jira. So the term post means after. So after we click on the status, something needs to be functioned. The field value needs to be updated automatically. So if we want to update any field value automatically, we cannot make any use of the validator. We cannot make any use of the conditions. So if something needs to be happen after we click, if some value needs to be updated, if some value needs to be cleared, we can make any use of the post functions in Jira. So this would be one of the interview question. What is a post function in Jira? Can you please give some example? We have to inform the interviewer very clearly by giving one of the example. Now just because we do have the post function, the resolution of the issue will be set to done automatically on the software simplified workflow. Whenever we click on the done status, we are able to see the green tick mark. Now it is the time to see one of the ticket on the workflow resolutions. Imagine we got one of the ticket from the project lead of the workflows project. For the project workflows, and for the issue type, maybe story, we would like to have a new workflow at the very first time, maybe to do to in progress and to be done. This is the order, and on the done transition, we would like our users, maybe our team members, to be able to select the resolution values manually, and this is a requirement that we have got. So before we talk about the resolution, I want to do a quick recap by creating one of the project in Jira, And then by making an use of the workflow scheme, I want to map it to the story issue type in the workflow project. And once I complete the regular activity, then I will step into the resolution or the post function activity. So let's quickly create one of the workflow in Jira where the transition mark from to do to in progress and then from in progress to done. So let's come back to Jira. Let's directly navigate to the home page and let's close all the unnecessary tabs. I'll click on the full stop on my keyboard as search bar has been opened, and where we can create the workflow, it will be on the global level. So let me start typing the term workflows, and here the very first step that I want to do is to click on create a new workflow. So we do have an option called create new under the add workflow. And here the very first thing that we can do is to give the name of the workflow. So the project name is going to be workflows. So let me use the keyword WOR, and it is going to be for the issue type story, and we are going to create a workflow. And this is the name of the workflow that I have given. So let me click on add, and then it's currently in the text mode, so let me navigate to the diagram mode. And we want 3 statuses on the workflow. By default, we all know that Jira will give the open status. So without touching that, let me quickly create 3 statuses. One is to do, and then the second status is going to be in progress, and then the very third status or the final status is going to be done. Alright, so then now it is the time for me to do the mapping. Alright, I kept to do, in progress and done in the order, and then the create transition I want to remove from the open status and I want to map it to do, and let me click on save. Now we have nothing to do with the open status in this workflow, so let me remove the status from the workflow. And the next thing that we can do is adding the transition marks. From to do to in progress, I want to add one of the transition, and the name of the transition I want to give it to the destination status name, which is in progress. So I have used the same in progress name, so let me click on add. And even from in progress to done, I want to add one transition, and the transition name is going to be the destination status name, which is done. Let me click on add. So we have created a workflow. So I want to make a use of this workflow for the story issue type in the workflows project. So I will be navigating to the workflow schemes in the global level, and here I will be finding the name of my project, which is going to be workflows. So let me search for it. I found the project name and then the appropriate scheme name. So by clicking on the edit button, I will be getting into the workflow scheme page of the project workflows in the global level. And here I want to map the newly created workflow by clicking on the add existing, and the newly created workflow name, we clearly know that it is WOR, and it's going to be story workflow. So I search for the appropriate workflow, and this is the workflow that we have created, and let me click on next, and I want to map it to the issue type called story, and then let me click on finish. Now all we know that whenever we make the changes in the Jira, we have to publish it. So let me click on publish, and then let me click on associate. Now let me click on refresh and acknowledge. Now step number 1 has been completed. We have created a new workflow, and then we have mapped it to the issue type called story in the project workflows. So let me mark it in green, and then they are telling that on the done transition, we would like our team members to be able to select the resolution values manually. So before performing that operation, let me quickly click on create, and in the story issue type in the workflows project, testing the resolution field, and let's see how it will be before we perform the operation. So let me click on create and let me open the issue. As per the workflow, the user will only be able to move the issue from to do to in progress, but not to done, because we do have the transition marks and it is a custom workflow. So let me click on in progress, and from here, from in progress, I want to click on done. Alright, I have clicked on done, but I clearly see that there is no resolution mark done. That is the very first point that I have observed. And then the very second point that I have observed is it did not ask me to manually select any resolution values at all. It is because the very first thing, we have created a new custom workflow. So only for the software simplified workflows, there will be a post function where the resolution will be set to done automatically. And if we are making an use of the custom workflow, it is our job whether to add the post function like set the resolution to done automatically or not. By default, whenever we create a custom workflow, there will be no resolution set to done automatically in the post functions option. Now, as per the requirement, it is not our job to add the post function, right? We do not want to set the post function like set the resolution to done automatically. As per the requirement, on the done transition, we would like our team members to be able to select the resolution values manually. So remember this term, it will be little bit tricky at the very beginning, and after that it will be very much easier to do that. So just give me one moment. Alright, so the requirement is as soon as someone clicks on the done, they should be able to select the resolution values, which means I do have one of the plan, which means when I click on done status, some box needs to be populated, the transition screen. So on that particular box or maybe on the transition screen, I want to place the Jira system field called resolution, so that whenever someone click on the done status, they will be able to select the resolution field values manually. So let's perform that activity. By clicking on the project settings of the workflow, I want to navigate to the workflows, and it is for the story issue type. So this is the right workflow to do the modifications. So by clicking on the edit, now where we would like to add the resolution field, it is whenever someone is clicking on the done status. So on the done transition, I want to add one screen here. I want to populate one screen whenever someone clicks on the done transition. So we do have an option called edit. Now as soon as I click on edit button on the done transition, I do have a functionality to place one of the screen. So what is a screen in Jira? A screen is nothing but an arrangement of fields, right? Either it can be one field or it might be two fields, we can arrange it. So if we want to add the screen, and that particular screen should contain the field called resolution. So what I want to do is, quickly I want to navigate to Jira, and then I want to navigate to the global level screens, so that I can create one of the screen, and then on that particular screen I want to add one of the field called resolution. So let's do that by clicking on add screen, and I just want to give the term resolution screen because I can make an use of this particular field in any project in future if I want to, where there will be only one field called resolution. So let me click on add. A resolution screen has been created, so let me open that, and then let me open the screen. Currently the screen is empty, all I can do is to add whatever the fields that I want, but I only want the field called resolution, which is a system field given by Jira, and it is not created by me. So wherever you go, in whatever the organization that you go, you will be able to find the resolution field in all of the Jira softwares. Now we have successfully created a screen in Jira, and I think even if I click on here, I will not be able to see that particular screen because I want to do a quick page refresh in order for the changes to be seen. Again, let me perform the activity by clicking on the done transition. On this particular transition, I want to add a screen, so let me click on edit, and here let me click on the screen, so it will populate all the existing screens in Jira, out of which I want to search for the resolution screen where I have created 1 minute earlier. So the value has been populated. So I am placing the resolution screen on the done transition, so that whenever someone click on done, this particular screen will be open, and on that screen the resolution field will be there, so that the user will be able to select the resolution values manually. And then let me click on save. Now we clearly know, if I click on the create transition, I do not see anything. If I click on in progress transition, I do not see any screen name. But when I click on the done transition, I can see there is a screen resolution screen. So what I want to do, in order for the changes to be made, I want to click on publish draft. I do not want to save the backup copy, and let me click on publish. Now we clearly know that we have set a resolution field on the done transition. Now it is the time for us to give a try. So by clicking on create button, testing resolution field, let me click on create. Let me open the issue. As per the workflow, let's try to move the issue from one status to another, from to do to in progress, and then from in progress to done. Now as soon as we click on done, what will happen? Some screen will be popped up and we will be able to see the resolution field. Let's give it a try. Now I click on done transition. Automatically a box has been opened. I can call this box as a transition screen. And on the transition screen, by default the comments will be given by Jira. It doesn't matter. But whatever the fields that I have added, it will be populated here. Since we have added only one field, which is called resolution, I can see the resolution field here. So that whenever someone is moving the issue to done, they will be able to select the resolution manually. Whether the work has been really completed, they will be clicking on done and then they will be selecting the option. If they really cannot complete it, they can choose won't do, or maybe duplicate, or cannot reproduce. And do not confuse about these values. Always remember that these values are given by Jira. So in automobile project, the project lead might want to have a different resolution values. In the same way, the project lead of the workflows project, they want to make a use of the resolution values like done and cannot be done. So we need to populate these two values for the resolution in the workflows project. But all I want from you is understand how we can make a use of the resolution field populated in any of the project. So the next activity that we are going to see is how we can how we can make a use of the customized values of the resolution in any one particular project. For now, all you have to understand is that how we can add the resolution field and how people can select the values manually from that particular issue. Maybe I want to click on won't do, and for now let me click on done. As we can see, the resolution has been updated by the user and currently it is in won't do. So anytime in future, If the Scrum Master navigates to the issues page, or maybe if they can make an use of the filters, they can easily find out of 3 issues how many are really completed and how many are not completed by having a look at the the resolution field. I can see totally there are 3 issues created in the workflows project. All the 3 statuses have been moved to done, out of which one is in done resolution, which means this work has been completed successfully. And on the second issue, we did not add any resolution, so I can see it is as unresolved. And then from here onwards, the user will be able to select the value of the resolution. So we clearly see won't do, which means the work has been not completed. So if there are 10 issues and if I see there is one won't do resolution, I can see why that issue is not completed by clicking on the summary and then by reading the comments. So this is how we can make an use of the resolution field in Jira. Now coming back to the requirement. The second line is on the done transition, we would like our team members to be able to select the resolution values manually. We have completed the activity. But when the project lead have a look at the resolution values, they have seen some 4 values, right? Done, won't do, duplicate or something. Imagine that the project lead of the workflows are not satisfied with the resolution values. They have raised another ticket stating that we would like to populate only these 2 values for our resolution field in Jira. Now in one of the previous sessions, we clearly learned, right, how we can make an use of the field values for each project. For project ABC, I want to see 1, 2, 3 as the field values for one of the custom field. And for project XYZ, for the same custom field, I want to see 4, 5, 6 as the values. We can make an use of the custom field context. And that is for the custom fields. Now resolution is the system field, and how are we going to make an use of the resolution values for each project? Now it is the time the workflows properties comes into picture. In tomorrow's session, we are going to see the remaining 2 examples of the post functions. Since in today's session we have concentrated on the resolutions, in order to complete the full ticket, even we need to switch over to another topic, that is going to be workflow properties. So on the workflows, we do have validators, we learn that, conditions, we understand that, and post functions, we just see how it functions. And then in the similar way, we do have properties as well. Now there are various times that we make an use of the workflow properties. It might be an interview question, can you let me know what is the workflow properties, or maybe can you give some examples where you have make an use of the workflow properties, so that we can say something like, by default on the workflow done transition, the Jira will have the resolution values, maybe like done, want to reproduce, or cannot reproduce, or duplicate. So we can make an use of the workflow properties for the project if we would like to populate our own resolution values in Jira, so that we will not be able to see all the resolutions given by Jira, but we will be able to see only the resolution values that we have kept for our project. And that is way that we can make an use of the workflow properties in Jira. Now the very first thing that we have to understand is that when we click on the resolution, we've seen 4 values, right? Done, want to, reproduce, and some other values. So how those values has been populated and where those values will be stored, that is point number 1. And just like how we have navigated to the issue type screens, workflows in the global level, in the same way, by clicking on the dot or the full stop on my keyboard, we can navigate to the resolutions in Jira. And that is one of the heading that we can see in the global level. If I click on the resolutions, I can see the default resolutions given by Jira. Done, won't do, duplicate, and cannot reproduce. Imagine that I have created a new resolution and the name is banana. Just imagine that I have clicked on add. So it will be stored in the resolutions page in the global level. And wherever that we have the resolution field, we will be able to see not just the 4 resolutions but 5 resolutions from now on. Let me quickly create one of the issue again. Testing resolution values. And then let me click on create. An issue has been opened. So let me open the issue in the second tab. And then let me move the issue from to do to in progress. And then from in progress to done. A transition screen has been opened. And now when I click on the resolution, I can see banana. Which means what exactly that I want to let you know is that in the organization, as the months and years passes, not just the 4 values they will be creating in the resolutions page, right? The Jira admins, as per the various requirements that they receive from various projects, they will be creating 10, 20, 30 resolution values. Now when we have 20, 30, 40 resolution values, for sure any project people who are making a use of the resolution field, when they open this box, for sure they will be able to see 20, 30, 40 or maybe 10 resolution values. So the workflow properties will comes into picture where we can populate only 2 values on a particular workflow transition. For example, for the project workflows, for the issue type story, if I want to see only 2 resolution values, we can make an use of the workflow properties on the appropriate status. So let's see how we can do that activity and then let's close today's session. Step number 1. They have given 2 resolution values. One is done. So let's navigate to the global level resolutions page. Control F and Control V. I can already see the done resolution here. That is perfectly alright. And then we have the second resolution value. It is cannot be done. Control F and Control V. I do not see it. So as a Jira admin, we have to create a new resolution value into the Jira software so that it will be stored in the global resolutions page. If we want to add any description for it, we can add if it is given by someone. If not, it is not mandatory. So in any project, any people making use of the resolution field where they do not have the workflow properties configured, they will be even able to see the cannot be done option from now on. And always remember, in organizations on each and every project there will be workflow properties where they can see only the appropriate resolution values that needed to be displayed in their project. Now in today's class, let's see the workflows project as an example, and let's see how we can make an use of the done and cannot be done values only can be seen but not the remaining resolution values. So second tab, let me navigate to the workflows project, and we are talking about the workflows. So as a Jira admin, let me click on project settings and then the workflows. It will take me to the project level workflows page of the workflows project, and then on the story issue type, so let me click on edit workflow, and now I'm talking about the resolution. The resolution can be set on the done, right? So here is the place that we can make an use of the properties. Always remember the properties of the done status that are related to resolutions can be added on the status, where we do have the option called properties. So let me click on properties, and here we have to write some property key and then we have to add some property value. So do not get confused, it is very much easier. All we can do is to open a new tab, navigate to Google, Jira, workflow, and then we are talking about properties that are related to resolution. All we can make an use of the key terms on exactly what properties that we would like to populate. So let me click on it and let me open the very first one, some document given by Jira, where we can see lot of properties, out of which, without even scrolling down the page, let me search for the term resolution. Alright, I can see few of the terms, so let me scroll a little bit down. Alright, and here I can see the transition properties. So we do have two properties, jira.field.resolution.include and then jira.field.resolution.exclude. So forget about the use case, I will be explaining to you right away. Here you are seeing the term include, right? Which means on a particular workflow transition, what resolution values that you would like to include. For example, I want to include only done and cannot done. So I will be adding those resolution IDs right before the key, so that whenever we click on the done transition, we can see only the two resolutions. In the same way, for example, we do have 20 different resolution values. And then imagine one particular project would like to see 15 resolution values but not the 5. Instead of including all the 15 resolution IDs, what we can do? We already have the 20, right? So we can make an use of this particular key, exclude, and then I can remove or I can place the 5 different resolution IDs which we do not want, so that the 15 resolution values can be seen. It totally depends upon how we can make our work easy. So in our scenario, I want to make a use of this particular resolution property, the key. Coming back to Jira, let me copy and paste the property key, jira.field.resolution.include, and here I want to give the property value. And just give me one moment, I think I have choose the wrong one. I think we have to add on the transition maybe. Let me click on it. And here also we do have properties option. Let's see which is the right one. Okay, I got it. So this is not the right one. Sorry, we should not click on the status. Even on the status we do have properties. It can be used for different properties. For the resolution, we have to make an use of the transition itself. So on the done transition, we do have an option called properties. And when I click on this particular screen has been opened where we can give the property key and then the property value. So again, let me go to the resolution page, copy and paste the key. And in the right side, we have to add the property values. So coming back to the properties values, as per Google or as per the Atlassian documentation, we need to use the resolution ID separated by comma. So the very important thing that you have to know that for each and every resolution that we have in Jira, either it is given by Jira or maybe the resolutions that we have created, for each and every resolution there will be the resolution ID. So we need to make an use of that particular ID in our workflow properties. So for the done resolution value, if I click on edit, on the URL, I will be able to capture the resolution ID for the done resolution value. I can take the copy of it. Coming to the workflow transition properties, Control V, separated by commas. So let me enter the term comma. And then coming back to the resolution, let me click on cancel. In the same way, I want to even include the second resolution ID, which is going to be cannot be done. Click on edit, and then let me take the copy of the resolution ID, and then I want to paste in the property values page, and then let me click on add. Alright, now in the workflows project, in the story issue type, on the done transition, we have included these two resolution values. Let me click on cancel, and then coming back to the edit workflow, I want to publish the draft so that the changes will be made, and then let me click on no, and then let me click on publish. Now we have successfully added the resolution values that needs to be displayed on this particular workflow. So any issues that has been created by making a use of the story issue type in the workflows project, it will be able to see only two different resolution values. So let's test it. Testing resolution values. We should only be able to see done and cannot be done, not the remaining values. And then let me click on create, and then let me open the issue. Alright, so from to do we can move the issue to in progress, and from in progress we can move the issue to done. As usual, a transition screen has been opened. Now when I click on the resolution, I'm not able to see all the resolutions that we have earlier, but now I can see only two resolutions that is really needed for the project workflows, done and cannot be done. It is because that we have configured the workflow properties in the backend, and where we have decided what resolution values needs to be populated so that the users can select the appropriate resolutions for their project. And this is all about the workflow properties that are related to the resolutions topic. Alright, here I want to show one small thing where we can capture the history of what happened in each issue. So always remember, not just the field values. On the view issue screen, we do have an option called history, where we can clearly see who have changed the status at what time, and from which status to which status they have made the changes. I clearly see Jira admin 09 updated the resolution from none, which means from nothing to cannot be done. Jira admin have changed the status from to do to in progress. From the beginning of the issue until the current moment, we can clearly define who have performed what activity on this particular issue. They have updated the field value, it will be captured. They have written some comments, it will be captured. So anytime in future, if someone comes and tell I do not perform this activity on this issue, we can even clearly capture everything in the history. So that is one of the things given by Jira, and that's one of the good functionality. And as a Jira admin, we do not involve much. It is mostly for the people that work in the project. As a Jira admin, our job is to define what values that they would like to have for their project, what post functions that we need to remove or to be added. Those kind of admin related activities will be taken care by us. Writing the summary and writing the comments on the projects will be completely related to the people that works in the project. Now the next one that I want to discuss is issues. So let me click on all issues. Now imagine that we do have 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? Done statuses. In the same way, I can see unresolved, unresolved. There are two resolutions. Now if we have more than thousands of issues that are created in the workflow properties, how we can filter out the issues that are in done status? How we can filter out the issues where the resolution is equal to unresolved? Or maybe how we can filter out how many issues are currently unassigned, or maybe how many issues are currently assigned to one particular user, or maybe how we can filter out how, like the way the reporter is equal to Jira admin 09, in the workflows project. In order to find each and everything, either we can come to the issues page, but more than the issues page in real time, we can make a use of the option called filters, where we can click on the filters on the very home page and then advanced issue search. So by being in this page, we can filter out whatever that we want in Jira. If there are 700 projects, all the 700 projects we can filter out. All we can do is select the project. I can see all the project names, out of which I want to pull the project called workflows. It's very much easier, the very basics. And then it will pull all the 1000 issues that are related to workflows project, and currently we do have only 5, right? So only 5 values has been populated, out of which I want to see what are all the issues that are in done status. I click on done. So filter out has been happened. I can see totally 4 are in currently done status, out of which I want to find out how many resolutions are cannot be done at the moment. Imagine. So that I can click on more, where I can fill the resolution field name, where I can sort out how many issues are currently in cannot be done. Okay, just give me one moment. Okay, I have choose a wrong value. It's not cannot reproduce, it is cannot be done. So that only one issue is currently in done status, in cannot be done. So always remember the very key point. If we want to search for any issues, we can make an use of the filters option in Jira. And there is a lot more that we can learn, where there will be a lot of documentation where in depth we can make an use of the filters in Jira. For now, all you have to understand, if I want to filter out something that is related to some field value, then we can definitely make an use of the filters functionality in Jira. And this is all about today's session.